Look out, honey, 'cause I'm using technology.
Bringing you the voice and vision of custom culture and lifestyle, as seen through the eyes of this South Texas duo. Welcome to the Custom Couple. Ron, welcome to the Custom Couple. Welcome back to the Custom Couple. And today is actually I'm rolling solo, but we'll make it work. Everybody that listens to the show normally, they all know that Sama, she loves her nursing job and all the crazy schedules it leaves her with. So it doesn't always work out that it's a couple, but she allows me to roll some of these episodes solo. I don't screw them up too bad. So, Ron, what's going on up there with Wicked Thumb?
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having us on again, man. How many times have you done this already, where you've had somebody on multiple times because of some computer glitch or some other shit?
Technology is wonderful, man. It's one of those things where, folks, if you're out there listening to us normally, you know, a couple weeks ago we had a week come out that did not have an episode because we recorded an episode with our friend Ron here, and my computer decided to eat it. So, but we. Welcome back.
It's a good thing, man. Everything happens for a reason.
Of course. So if y'all haven't already gone and found Wicked Thumb, you definitely need to go to their social medias and go check out these electric motorbikes. So, Ron, give us a rundown on the business, and we'll let our listeners find you on all of your socials from there.
Yeah, sweet. So we're primarily custom electric bike builder. We're up in Denton, Texas. And our influences are definitely old school V-twin, chopper. I don't want to say cafe racer because that's really not that much in there, but vintage style, classic style, retro style. Most of our owners are Harley or Indian owners or people who really wish that they could do that, and for whatever reason they never could. 1% of people are ever going to ride a motorcycle or own a motorcycle, and 80 or 90% of people have rode a bike or know how to ride a bike. So that's kind of our whole thing, is bringing all the amazing things that riding a motorcycle and that camaraderie and the wind in your hair and everything from bar hopping to, group rides, all that type of stuff. What you get as a motorcycle rider, and it's bringing that experience to more of the people that just, like I said, for whatever reason, don't get to do that or don't get to do it anymore. Or maybe they get to do it and they get to do this with their friends and family who don't get to do it. So that's kind of our whole thing. And it's really an amazing job. I'm a Harley guy. I've been in all 50 states. I'm 49 of them on my Harley, one Hawaii on a rental, but that's my first love outside of my children. And to get to do something that's, it's really getting to share a lot of the fundamentals and core of that. That's really what we do. So
when did Wicked Thumb get its start?
2019 is when I really seriously started doing this, following all the legal stuff and starting to plan out production. And but the idea was really kind of hatched when my oldest daughter, when she started riding bicycles. She's 9 now, so probably 4 to 5 years old. She started riding a bike, and I started riding a bicycle again. And it was like, man, I gotta have a fucking cool bike. I can't ride around on something I buy in the store.
Oh, of course.
They used to make some cool bikes. They just really don't anymore. So I got some older cruisers, and one of my best friends who I've done a lot of those miles with on the Harleys. He knew I was looking for something new to do, and he had kind of pointed me in the direction of these electric conversion kits where you could convert bikes over to electric, motor, battery, controller, all that stuff. And so I started messing around with that. And that was like 2019, where I just kind of felt the time was right. And then we got going with that. We were converting older bikes, but we couldn't find enough bikes to convert. So that's where it came down to. You could see the enthusiasm, you could see the reaction. And as a Harley rider, just riding that bike, I had that part of me that was like, man, like, all these gas guys are anti-electric, and I was the same way. But, knowing what I've rode and then go convert a bike and ride it and see the way I felt on it, I was like, man, this is fucking sick, dude. And that's where I kind of knew, is like, yeah, the time's right to do this shit. And then COVID hit, right when we're planning it. I think it was January 2000 when I got the first, 2020. January 2020 got the first 2 prototypes, and it was, like, you're so stoked, and then March comes around and all the other shit's going, and it was like, oh fuck, man, what are we gonna do now?
Yeah.
So
it was at that point that you had to make, a choice. You're starting a brand new business, got, prototypes for this business that you've already sunk money into. And now your trade show business is going to turn into a strictly online business. That's what a lot of people went through. A lot of people that we've talked to in the art industries, pinstripers and, artists, paint, canvas art type stuff. They went from having car shows and things to go to like that to 100% just selling their art online, or doing, a lot of like live auction kind of things. And it's like the whole world just changed its like whole perspective at that point. So is that similar to what happened with you?
Yeah, man, that's exactly what happened with us. I mean, we went into this, we're trying to sell something that, like I just described, you have to ride it to get that feeling, to overcome that obstacle of like, it's a fucking electric bike, So yeah, that was instant. It was kind of like, okay, shit, we got to shift. We got to start promoting this on social media, which I was already doing already. It was like, okay, we got to go all social media, all online. We're not going to get to do any events. We're not to go out and show this to anybody. So it's kind of a, irony is it was a double-edged sword, because I mean, I'm, like most people, I'm kind of ADD or ADHD or whatever they call it these days, to where a lot of shit I don't want to do, like I have a hard time focusing on it, but I was forced to. Like, I had no distractions. I couldn't travel. I couldn't go on motorcycle trips. I couldn't go out to the bar with my buddies. I couldn't go do stuff with my family. Like, all events were canceled. My kids were homeschooled. So I was home all day like everybody else. Homeschooling my kids during the day, and then I would work all night. And it really helped take care of a lot of things that probably wouldn't have got done. Like, this may have never got off the ground to the scale it has now if it wasn't for that stuff. So yeah, that was kind of the double-edged sword there. But we basically built an online business, and now we get to come back after everything settles down in like the last year or so, 6 months. Now we get to go back and kind of get to plan to do it the way we envisioned to do it. And we have this online business going. So that's like an amazing obstacle to get out of the way. There's, so much shit involved with the pandemic or whatever, but there were silver linings all around, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you take shit and you make shittinade, or right?
I think that's the saying. I'm pretty sure that's the saying.
Yeah,
somebody will write in and tell us if that's the saying.
Yes, it's a word somewhere. Shittinade.
So now that everything is kind of opening back up, and now there are a lot of the car and bike shows coming through, is this now your time to to start hitting some of these and turn this online business that you never envisioned that it would be just strictly online? Now it's time to start bringing it out to the public so they can see it in person and feel it and touch it and ride it, beforehand. Is that, you have plans for that now?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, but the cool thing is we've gotten so many bikes out there that so many other people are almost just doing it for us. Like, we've got so many bikes and, people who are just RVing, car shows, swap meets, NHRA, just whatever it is, they've bought bikes and they're out there. We don't have to be out there for a lot of that stuff, right?
True. Yeah.
Like, they're out there and they have our stuff out there. So, and then like for us, yeah, like we definitely, that's what we're gearing up for. We like the car shows and we don't like crazy shit, like we did some expos, electric vehicle expos with test rides. And man, I was like, they were cool, but it was like fucking circus show, man. Like people that have never rode a bicycle before coming over and taking your bike and going around a racetrack at 28 miles an hour, like wrecking them. And
oh man,
and you're just like, dude, it was like, holy shit. Or you get like, our bike has a 300-pound limit. And one of the things we advocate is like, this will help people who, maybe have a little more weight on them than they'd like to be motivated to get out and ride a bike and drop some weight and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, there had to be people that weighed over 400 pounds
trying to ride,
at this test track, like taking these bikes out and just dumping them or it was a cool show. We had a good time. We met some really cool people. I mean, other people in the industry. That's probably the best part about some of these shows like that is the meeting other people on your side of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But I don't know that like our plan is going to be to continue to do that. We like the car shows and I think we did Rat Rodtober. I don't know if you guys know that one up in McKinney.
No, I haven't been to that one.
Yeah, that's in October, I think, which would make sense. Rat Rodtober. Yeah. So,
maybe.
But really badass. Natalia and Jake, they put that one on, and yeah, it's just cool. And we were a sponsor on that one. We'll be a sponsor this year. We raffled the bike off last year.
Oh, really?
We gave them one to raffle off. Yeah.
What does one of your bikes go for?
So our starting point's $3,000 for an all black bike, and they're 750 watts. 48 volt, about 28 miles per hour is the
and then they're fully
top speed. You can go a little higher. You got pedal assist and throttle, and you've got a 35 to 45 mile range is kind of average. Depends how you ride it. Depends where you're at, temperatures, hills, how much you weigh, there's wind, there's some of these factors, but kind of a good average is 35 to 45 miles. If you're riding it like a bike, and I don't mean killing yourself, you're just pedaling it. You're not trying to go as fast as possible, stuff like that. We start at 3, and I mean, we've gone over 10 on some of the bikes, custom bikes we've done. So
yeah, fully customizable. We can get up there, man.
Yeah, like we did a copper bike. We're about to do another copper bike.
Oh, really?
We're doing a brass plated bike too. We got a nickel plated one in the shop right now that's just about done. Nickel plated, silver leaf tanks, all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that's kind of the fun stuff, man. It's like I said, the thing that's different about us compared to any other electric bike company is we're bike guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know what we want and our friends want and the crowds that we hang out with want. We're not some corporate outfit that's out there trying to sell bikes, trying to hit the masses or other stuff. Like, we serve our kind of people, our kind of taste, you know.
Oh yeah, I've
That's
seen
what's
that.
different about us.
Yeah, I've
So
definitely seen that with a lot of your posts on social media. I mean, how we met was you hit me up one day and it was like the people that listen to your show probably need to be riding around on one of my bikes. And
yeah,
I
I
was
mean,
like,
you
well,
popped up
let's
and
do this.
popped up as in our feed for off something else. It might have been Scratch's Garage, or I can't
Yeah, yeah,
remember, but
probably.
like, but you just popped up and it's like, yeah, shit. I mean, like you kind of join those whole circles together, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the way it works. Like we all have different things we pitch, but they all fit into the same, the same demographic. Like we all have the same tastes, and this is just another cool ass toy that fits in there. Is really what it comes to.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the vibe that I got from them right off the bat was yeah, they kind of have that beach cruiser look to them. Some of them do. Like it looks like it would just be fucking rad to be, running down a boardwalk with one of these bikes, or, or downtown, one of the metropolises downtown. Like, we're in San Antonio and they have, all kinds of like these little electric scooters and shit that you can rent to, to bar hop all the places on the Riverwalk and stuff. I think it'd be cooler to be on one of your bikes and actually looking cool while you're running around and partying in the downtown areas. Y'all have got a ton of cool car shows that happen up in the Dallas area. I bet there's several folks that'll end up at one of those car shows, with one of your bikes in the bed of their old truck, and then just cruise that bike around the show. And, I mean, that's the instant feeling that I got from your whole business and everything that y'all are about, is like, that is the epitome of cool right there. Like, I think
Yep.
y'all have got it down, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. No, I mean that nails it. It's like you go somewhere with whatever you got, and then this is kind of like your way to get around wherever you're at. It's a big purpose for it. Or if you don't feel like driving, like shit's getting so spread out now, or if you live in the suburbs, even like they're building all these entertainment districts, restaurants, and river walks and all this shit, just like you got in San Antonio. They just built one in the town I live in. Built a freaking river walk. It took them like 10 or 12 years to fucking do it. But finally they got 4 restaurants and bars open over there now. But, it's a mile away. You can ride your bike to it. So.
Hey, I've even contemplated thinking like I could probably take one of your bikes to work. Like I work about 10 miles from where I live. I think I can make it work, but of course it is highway, so I'd have to stay down on the access roads. And
I mean, it's cool if you got back roads, man. But
yeah, exactly.
like we do that. I don't know, every Tuesday night. Like these guys with the pan shovel kind of crew. They do a bike night at a bar here in town, and they invite us to come out. So we'll kind of do that every other week. We'll go cruise out there, and it's maybe 3 miles from the shop. And it's badass because the guys from the shop don't ride motorcycles. They don't know what it's like to bar hop.
Right.
So yeah, we'll cruise out there, and then we'll leave from there, and we'll go to some other spots and end up riding back. Like one of my buddies came out from the suburbs, like 2 towns away. He rode his bike to the train station, which was about 6 miles, brought it on the train, brought it up to town. We cruised around town, and when we were done, he rode back home. Wherever we ended up, it was 9 miles to his house or something like that. But he was able to get home, and it was like one of those nights where you're like, that's the way I envision this.
Yeah.
Doing exactly what we would do on a motorcycle, but you can actually do it on an electric bike, So pretty cool. Yeah, there's infinite things you can do with them. Yeah, you're not going to go do a road trip on them like you would do on a Harley or whatever. But we're talking, the little bar hopping shit, doing it with your friends and your family that don't get to do it on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I think that's a big part of it too. Like it's not so much that it's trying to be a motorcycle; it's just trying to, fulfill of a need that it does all on its own. It's not trying to be anything else that it's not. I mean, these things are they're definitely cooler than riding around a car show in a golf cart. I can tell you that right now. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you make your golf cart.
No doubt.
If you make your golf cart look like a '57 Chevy or whatever these guys do, it's fine, whatever. But one of these bikes is way cooler. Like, you should just spend your $3,000 in that realm. You'll be a hell of a lot happier.
Own, but you wouldn't believe that. That's probably the number one troll comment we get on social media is, Jesus Christ, $4,000 or $3,000. I can buy a freaking Sportster for that much. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not trying to compete with a Sportster.
Yeah.
I'm trying to compete with a Sportster if all you do is ride it within a small radius or throw it in the back of your truck and ride it around the campground or a show. But I'm not trying to compete with a Sportster.
Right, exactly.
These people just don't get that. They think we're trying to compete with motorcycles. No, if anything, what I'm hoping is you're going to ride this bike and then you're going to be like, shit, man, I'm comfortable going and getting a motorcycle now.
See, and that was my exact thought, was that it would be a bridge to, like, I tell folks all the time, I'm 38 and I've never been on two wheels. I've never been on a motorcycle. And this last year, I thought for a split second that I was going to. We even went to some dealerships and talked about getting some bikes and just didn't quite work out how I wanted it to. And then with it not working out the way it did, it gave me time to think about, do I really want a motorcycle? Because I've never owned one before and I've made it this far without having one. But then when we talked the last time, I was like, man, I can jump on one of these bikes and just to get comfortable again with being on two wheels, because I haven't had, a bicycle in probably the last 20 years. And I would think that would be a thought going through several people's minds. Like, this could be a bridge to that gap of, do I get a motorcycle or do I need to, do something first before jumping to a motorcycle? Yep.
Yeah, most people, I would say, that ride a bicycle do not ride it, like on a road or in traffic.
Right.
And I would say most people, their number one fear that keeps them from riding a motorcycle is riding in traffic, right? It's not the machine necessarily itself. It's a combination of the machine in traffic, and being hit by a car. It's not falling over. It's being hit by a car or something like that. So, yeah, what happens with these is, you get them and you might start where you're riding on the bike path, or now you've got protected bike lanes, right? A lot of the cities, especially the newer developing ones in the suburbs, it's a mandate. Like, if you put in a new road, if it's a 2-lane road or something like that, you have to put bike lane in it. Or if you're building new development, you have to put bike path in front of the development to connect it all together. So, I mean, this is the direction things are going. So a lot of people, you can start off with that protected, and then you're intertwining that where you start riding on the road, and it might be a 30-mile-an-hour road, and then boom, you're jumping on a 45-mile-an-hour road to go up 2 blocks to cut over. But you're starting to get a little comfortable with riding in traffic, like looking around, being more aware.
Yeah.
Bicyclists in general, I mean, if you just think back to being a kid, or like, you're really not necessarily, unless you're on the street, you're not paying attention that much. You're just kind of worried about whatever's directly in front of you. You don't get that. When you ride a motorcycle, you are looking in advance, 180 degrees. You're looking in your mirrors, you're looking behind you, you're constantly looking around at your surroundings. Whereas, like I said, with a bicycle in general, you're not used to doing that when you ride a bicycle.
Right.
So yeah, something like this, you start to tune those senses to where you don't even know it, but you start to get the confidence where you're like, okay, yeah, I'll go try a motorcycle now. And, we're selling through some Harley dealers now, and Indian dealers and power sports dealers. And that's the feedback we're getting from these guys is, you guys are starting to send us motorcycle sales.
Wow.
You know, we're getting people that come in to look, or their wives even, hey, let's go look at these bikes. And then the husband's able to buy a motorcycle because the wife's getting an electric bike, or, you know, they go in together and they didn't come in to buy a motorcycle, and, you know, they get an electric bike, and a month later, 3 months later, it's okay, I want a motorcycle. And this is the feedback we're getting. And that's what we expected.
I think that's awesome.
So, and because of our style, you know, we have a style that is more, it looks more like a motorcycle. You know, most electric bikes do not. You know, they look like a mountain bike with a battery slapped on it, or,
right.
You know, the big popular things, the old 70s mini bike look, you know. That's the most popular style. But yeah, what we're doing is more probably an older demographic, but it's motorcycle style. So it kind of just plants that seed. So.
You said earlier in the episode that you've been on a motorcycle, on your own motorcycle, in 49 of the states. When you were going to Hawaii, tell me, did it cross your mind before going to Hawaii that you're like, I'm going to look into how much it really costs to ship my bike over there? Because did you want that experience on your own bike?
Man, at that, I got to say, under the circumstances that I went over there at that point, like, yeah, I didn't really have the time to do that. But
okay.
I have looked at that, sending it to Europe.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've looked into that before. But I didn't look into it for Hawaii, but it was too easy at that point. It's just too easy to get a rental for $150 a day or whatever.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the same reason a lot of folks back in the day were going, you know, they would go to Hawaii for a family vacation or whatever, and then while they were there, they would rent the HO Mustangs, the one that had the powerful engines in them or whatever. I'm not a Mustang guy, so I don't know. I just know the stories of, you know, they go to, you know, rent these, you know, sports cars and go cruise them around the island.
Nah, I mean, it's cool because, yeah, let's face it, like, it's good to have a little bit of alone time, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, we all have, you know, we get to go do something like that. It's if your wife can bust out and go do something she wants to do on her own, or like I think when I went the last time I went, I had my daughter with me. But no, it was cool. The other 49 states, I mean, shit. Like I said, man, that's my first love. I don't get to do it so much anymore, but yeah, just exploring, right?
Yeah.
Seeing new shit all the time.
How is Alaska?
I mean, Alaska's sick, man. It's it's the journey up there. That's the cool part, right? Because that was probably the only dream I really had on a motorcycle. Where it was like, I want to ride to Alaska. And yeah, when you get on the Alcan and shit, like just when you get into Canada, and I've been to Canada several times, but every time I go, it's always some drama because of some stupid shit. 15 or 20 years ago, like my dog was off a leash or something, and I didn't go to court, so it's on my criminal record, and the Canadians like interrogate me every time I go to Canada now about my dog being off the leash and shit. I'm like, so you're not going to let me into Canada because my dog's off the leash? And it's like, no, it's because you didn't go to court about it. So, but anyway, even though it's all squared up, every time I go to Canada, it comes up again. I got to go deal with that crap. So just the fact we got in that time, yeah, my friends are like, shit, they ain't going to let them in. We ain't going anywhere. And, but nah, man, you get on the Alcan there, and I think it's Dawson's Creek, you know, like your old favorite show.
Right? Everybody's old favorite show.
Yeah, hell yeah. So I think Dawson's Creek is where it starts. But yeah, man, like we're not 10 miles on the Alcan, and you got bikes coming the other way that have been up to Alaska coming back. And man, like every one of them, they got like their fists up in the air like that, like because they know you're starting the whole trek. And that was like the coolest thing. I've never been on a motorcycle trip like that or anything where you're on the road and you're typically getting this stupid fucking peace sign shit or one finger down. And no, this was just like
full on
that shit. Yeah,
full
like
on fist
you're
bumps.
starting it like the fuck yeah, dude. It's gonna be the most amazing trip of your life. So yeah, the cool thing about that, I have so much cool shit. I mean, you meet so many cool people, but it's where you ride for. You could ride 100 miles and not pass another car, or you could ride 200 or 300 miles and not see a town, not see anything. Right?
Wow.
You got a little gas station in the middle of nowhere that hopefully it's open when you go through there. Right?
Right.
If not, you're pitching your fucking shit and sleeping there for the night. So that was the cool part of, I mean, just, of course you're there with 4 or 5 of your best buds and you're getting to share that together. Right. So that's the cool thing about motorcycling is you get out there and you go see badass shit and you're by yourself taking it all in. But then when you get off your bike, you're with your best buddies and you get to, talk about it and tell stories and you all saw the same shit. And for the rest of your life, you're always going to remember that shit. So, I mean, that's what's amazing about motorcycling.
Yeah, that's badass. Have you been to Sturgis?
Yeah, I haven't been. The last time I actually went was 2015, which is when we went to, I think it was the 75th anniversary. I've been 10 times to Sturgis.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't been in 7 years, but yeah, I mean, that's badass too. But I mean, like, the surrounding area and shit, there's so many beautiful rides and a lot of it's just nostalgic now. It's kind of like even if you just think about, like, I live in Dallas Fort Worth, so if you just get used to going out with your buddies 3 or 4 times a year, bar hopping and hitting different bars and hitting different spots, and it just feels normal. It's like the same shit with Sturgis, man. It's just you do it once every year or once every 5 years or whatever it comes down to, where it feels the same way, right?
Yeah.
It's like everything feels familiar. You don't get too much new shit. It's all kind of the same shit and just, beautiful riding, and the weather could be all over the place. So it's just like North Texas.
Right.
But yeah, it's cool, man. I'm not a huge rally guy. I was when I was younger. It was cool to go check them out, but that was my first motorcycle trip I ever did. I had just turned 30, I guess, and we went to Sturgis. So
my neighbor went to Sturgis one year, and when he came back, he was telling us the story about he got into a herd of buffalo that were all on the road. And it was him and a few other bikes, and they were all stopped and kind of waiting it out, because a buffalo is bigger than you on a bike. It's kind of like a car.
You gotta jump it, man. You jump it or slide under it.
There you go. It's kind of like a car that really doesn't care if it runs you over. Like driving in San Antonio.
Yeah, there's not much. Like buffalo are pretty much the ultimate fuck off. This is my space. Get out of my space.
Yeah, so I can imagine. I guess that would be a little nerve wracking, because when you're in a car doing things, you see wildlife, all over the roads and stuff. I'd imagine when you're on a bike, it's quite a bit more intimidating at times. Like, some of the larger deer, and, you get into the northern states and they have things like moose and elk. Like,
yeah, grizzly bears.
Grizzly bears. Yeah, exactly.
We've had that shit before. You're going down in Alaska, man. You're coming down the road and there's a grizzly bear and 2 cubs running across the road, and the mother stops in the middle of the road and looks at you, stands up on her hind legs.
Oh, God.
And looks at you, and then she gets down until you stop, basically, and then she gets down and finishes crossing, and the cubs come behind her. Yeah, we've had shit like that happen.
Wow.
But the key with a motorcycle, or one of our bikes or whatever, it's just confidence.
Yep.
Yeah, like you can't ride if you're scared. Because if fear takes over, you fuck up. If you're in a situation, you got to be fluid. You can't be scared.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the key to, the psyche of riding a motorcycle is it's just no fear. And that doesn't mean being like reckless. That just means that you're confident. You gotta learn to ride and build up that confidence.
Yeah.
And we think that's one of the purposes our bikes serve is they allow you to build enough confidence to go to the next step. Whereas getting on a motorcycle is a scary thing. I was always afraid of riding a bike on the street. I was cool riding it off road, and then right before I turned 30, one of my best friends showed up at my house on a fucking new wide glide. I was like, shit, guess I'm getting a fucking motorcycle, man. And I got one, went and took a class, and I advise that go take a motorcycle class. They teach you how to avoid a lot of bad habits.
Yeah.
And no, it's really just a really fruitful thing, man. So
how many guys do you have
privileged.
working in your shop with you right now?
Man, we have 4. I mean, it fluctuates. We get 4 full-time guys, but like for logistics, we use an outside firm. For finance, we use an outside firm. We do most of our own marketing. We're about to hire somebody to handle a bunch of different stuff, but social media and merchandising and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's really it's not a steady business, and what I mean by that is it peaks at certain times and it's slow at certain times.
Yeah.
So to carry like a big staff, like it's hard to just be like, yeah, you're laid off for the next 6 months. Like our busy time is from about mid-February till September, and then it kind of dies for 3 months. It gets busy for a few weeks around Christmas, but not that busy where you're going to have a full staff and stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of tricky. A lot of that's been driven by logistics issues and getting stuff. And that's starting to kind of level out now where we can get stuff quicker and we can predict better when we're going to get product in. And, so yeah, I mean, it's a growing business. So there's a lot of challenges and a lot of learning and a lot of mistakes. A lot of good things we do.
Yeah.
The only mistakes I don't tolerate are safety related, but anything else we can fix.
Were y'all affected a lot by the container ships, things of that nature? When everybody was complaining that everything basically tripled and quadrupled in price because we couldn't get materials in. Were y'all affected by that at all?
Yeah, I mean, last year was, shit, dude. It was, cost-wise, it probably went up from $6,000 or $7,000 a container to $40,000 to $45,000 a container.
Jesus.
And that's in less than like a year, yeah. And that was between container costs, rail costs, because we were shipping everything into Long Beach or LA. So it goes there by boat, and then it goes by rail to Dallas, and then we get a truck. The timelines were ridiculous. It got up to, we get into California, it would sit in the water for 2 to 3 weeks, and it would come off the boat, and it would take 30 days before it would get on the train.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we get all this backup. And then what happens is when everything gets in, it's like shit. Then you got all these bikes to get out at once. And people are sitting with their thumbs up their ass for a month or two before that because you got no product.
Right.
But yeah, like now like we just sent our last 2 containers. We were like, fuck this shit. We're going to send them to Houston. So we sent them to Houston, and man, they got into Houston. They were due into Houston the 4th. It took them 1 day to get it into the port, or 36 hours or something. So 1.5 day delay. And then they're already like, yeah, we can get those delivered to you tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
So they came in Tuesday, and yeah, they're like, we'll get them to you one Friday and one Monday. And we delayed it to next week because of some other issues with some tariff reimbursements that came in that we're trying to get processed. So, but yeah, so Houston's the shit, dude. Ship your stuff to Houston. Avoid LA.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we got a great port down there, and we never really thought about it that way. So a little like, and these were even like, what did I say? The last ones were 45 grand. Like this was like, everything's about, I don't know, 20 grand.
Really?
So there's some cost savings there. And then, yeah, so that, on the flip side, like prices are going up drastically now, right?
Yeah.
So now the bike prices are going up. The bike prices didn't go up so much last year. They did on some stuff like batteries and brakes and stuff like that. But for the most part, the bike prices didn't go up much last year. It was the transportation. Well, now the bike prices are going up. So they fuck you one way or another. So now all the components are going up, but the transportation came down. So
these are all the things that a lot of folks don't think about when it comes to the businesses where they get their stuff from. So, I feel like it's a very valid conversation to have. When you run a business and you have a product to sell, and people dig what you're selling, there's a lot of things that people don't see behind the scenes. And they don't see why a bike can cost $3 to $4 grand, and think that, oh shit, that's a lot of money. And it's like, well, look at what you're getting, look at what you're investing your money into. You're not just going to Walmart and getting the was it a Schwinn or a Huffy off the shelf there.
Like 10 million of them, yeah.
Yeah, that all probably came from Taiwan or whatever. Like you're getting a product that is customizable. It's built here in Texas and put together, and it has your brand's name on it, and it has y'all standing behind it. And that's there's a lot that goes into that people just don't see that side of business a lot of times.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they think, in our business, I mean, it's like a Harley Davidson. I mean, if you look at a Harley, I mean, I can't remember the name of the site, but you can go look at the site and see what percentage of the parts of a Harley Davidson come from America, and it's not many.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a fact. I mean, I remember being in college, and we're talking 30 years ago, but it was one of those things where they taught you, like, the direction the world was going was like the world was going to become like a corporation where, sales and marketing departments would be in America, and, finance would be in India, customer service and production would be in China and Taiwan, and it was like becoming countries were specializing in different stuff. And it makes sense because it's a global marketplace. If you're just selling to America, we buy such a small percentage of, take our industry, electric bikes, the number of electric bikes sold globally. We get this misnomer that in America that, man, we're the badasses, that we control the world, that we buy everything. No, man, we're like population-wise, as the world develops, population-wise, we're like nothing.
Yeah.
We're like 5% or some shit like that of the world.
For real.
So bicycle business, electric bikes specifically, I mean, 98% of them are sold outside of America. So, somewhere like China, they sell everywhere. Taiwan. I mean, they specialize in this shit. And it's not like back in the day where they were selling knockoff handbags in New York City. It was like their manufacturing.
Right.
No, I mean, like you deal with a reputable manufacturer like we do. I mean, they make quality shit. I mean, there's no one who's going to ever look at our shit. And I mean, they look at the frame and you look at the welding and you look at the tubing. Like, you can't even get the shit here. There's nobody in America that can make tubing shapes and the hydroform stuff. It fits together like puzzle pieces and gets welded rather than just tubes that are welded at the seams.
Mm-hmm.
All the components, everything are made over in Asia. Even you buy a $15,000 bike in America, a mountain bike, no motor on it. Everything on it is made overseas.
Yeah.
China, Taiwan. So it's not like you're dealing with some Mickey Mouse shit. I understand political stuff. People don't like the Chinese, but yeah, there's just it's just the reality of the world, like, sure, if we could buy components here and all that stuff, we would do it, but we're not a brake company. We're not going to build brakes. I've had somebody say to me, yeah, like, you can't get brakes. Like, why don't you just make your own?
Like,
and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I'm just going to start making brakes and throwing them on people's bikes. Yeah, we can't just start making brakes, dude. We got to buy brakes that have been tested. It takes you two years to get that shit approved to where it's approved by the Consumer Product Safety Commission or shit like that. So
it's like, you're also not a factory, that's, able to, create an assembly line to create a product such as brakes. Like, there's a lot of folks that'll just jump out there and say things. And it's like, well, you should do this yourself. And it's like, well, there's a reason why another guy is way better at that job than I am.
Exactly. They're professionals at building brakes. We're not.
Exactly.
We're selling bikes. We're customizing bikes. I couldn't really classify what we do. We're kind of a hybrid, but we're like a bike shop. But yeah, we get pre-configured bikes in, and then a certain percentage of them people didn't do anything to. A certain percentage, we're building a bike from the ground up. A certain percentage are getting it heavily customized. It's just all over the place. But key is there's really nobody who offers that. Getting a custom bike from the factory, right? You buy an electric bike. It's coming in a box from China. It's going on a shelf in a warehouse, and it's getting picked and getting sent to you.
Right.
And that never happens with any single bike we do. Every bike, even the most basic bike, comes out of the box. Somebody goes through it, and that's why we have like almost no warranty claims. We catch almost everything, and it's even what we catch is so minimal. But if we have 1% of the bikes that go out have a problem, and we could catch 90% of that, yeah, like what it saves us and just time and having an unhappy customer. And we deliver a bike that anyone who buys our bike is so fucking stoked that they're even ordering that bike. Like, they've worked themselves up to like, holy shit, man, I can't wait to have this thing. And then they get it and there's any problem with it. Like, you don't want that.
Oh, definitely not.
Right? You want to open that bike and be like, holy fuck, this thing is so badass, dude.
Yeah. Anybody
that's what we do.
Anybody that's saved every single penny they ever had to go buy a Nintendo system as a kid. I will date myself. Yes, I had the original Nintendo. And you saved
1987.
That's it. You saved everything you had, and you mowed grass for weeks to get $1 at a time, and you finally were able to get it. And when you plugged it in, the game didn't want to work. And your TV didn't, it was
white
a blue
screen,
white
having to blow the shit.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right?
Anybody who's dealt with that. I know exactly what you mean, man.
I had it easier. I got mine for my birthday, or I think it might have been Christmas, actually.
Right. I remember
Santa Claus brought it to me.
I got the Super Nintendo for Christmas one year. That one was badass too. But
oh yeah.
You know, and even recently in my life, man, you know, go buy a hot rod and get it home and drive it for about 2 weeks and the engine blows in it. That's exactly what happened with my last one. So, you know, anybody who's saved and pinched pennies and worked for something, and then we're like, and like you said, get that hype and get that, ooh, this is the coolest thing that I've ever saved my money for. Yeah, you definitely don't want problems with it when you get home. So, you know, it speaks volumes to have a, you know, an ethic and a quality about your brand that, you know, y'all look out for your customer like that, because, you know, you don't get that with a, you know, big box store or, you know, corporate style, you know, online ordering systems where it's just, you know, fill an order, ship an order, you know.
It's just numbers. And like if there's a problem, they just say, we'll send you another one, send it back. And it's just numbers, right? It's accounting. It's here's what we plan for, here's the percentage that's gonna be off. And yeah, like I said, we're bike guys, man, and we're hot rod guys, and we're motorcycle guys, and we just, whatever our hobby is, we love it. And that's what, you know, that's what we're trying to just share. You know, it's that community. Those people are out there, and nobody else is catering to that type of person.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
They're catering to the masses. So
exactly.
And it's amazing to get to do that. You know, I've never had a job like that in my life. I've had other businesses before, and good times, bad times. But like this shit, it's like every day, man. It's just anyone who's buying your product is so stoked about it, and anyone you're talking to, you know, shares that. Like any media we're doing, or just any events we go to, or just, you know, whatever it is, like any painters we work with, or outsupplaters, or just anything we do, everybody's kind of on the same wavelength. You're working with people and selling to people who share the same philosophies and the same beliefs and the same desires, and yeah, that changes everything when you get to do that.
Absolutely. You know, and just going along with that same train of thought, you know, what we've experienced with our show that we've done for this past year is, you know, being able to connect with folks and meet new folks and see, you know, what's out there and what people are doing in their own garages, and, you know, cars that are being built in, you know, in home garages that are coming out, you know, just, you know, killer looking. We've had people on this show that, you know, they don't even do this as a business. This was just a hobby. And then their neighbor was like, hey, that's cool, I want one too. And then, you know, we've gotten so many people listening to the show that have, you know, written in and send me messages all the time talking about, you know, this is what's in their garage and this is what they're doing. And that whole, you know, that whole like-mindedness and the people that you're catering to, and you know, you start, you know, seeing that when, you know, one person buys your bike and then they share it with their neighbor, and then, you know, and then, you know, you just start seeing that there's this whole, you know, circle of people out there that are just absolutely digging what you're doing, and I can see it, man. I can definitely see it for y'all.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it, man. I mean, that's part of the fun of it, right? You get something that's custom. You can kind of go whatever scale you want with it delivered to you, but then you get the options to continue to customize it. And your friends, or sometimes you make new friends. You know, you don't have a friend and someone sees you riding that bike and they talk to you about it, and all of a sudden, man, they get one, and now you're customizing your bike together. And
right,
you know, the future, you know, the things you can continue to do in the future with your bike, or get a new one when a new model comes out, and that's just part of there's just such excitement in that, right?
Absolutely.
Goes a bit, think about riding BMX bikes when we were kids, right? Always tinkering with shit. And like you said earlier, like you got to scratch every penny you get you want to go buy sticker for your number plate or whatever. Like
Right.
you're like $3 for a sticker. You know, we're talking the 80s. That's a lot of money. It's like $300 now or some shit.
Yeah, for real.
There's every little thing though. Like every little thing you roll up, you're like, hey man, you notice anything different about my bike today?
I changed the
it's just
playing
all that
cards.
stupid shit, man. It's so simple, but it's like simple shit that make people happy, man. Get them off of dealing with whatever bullshit or other stuff they have. So anything you can do to deliver something to people that's positive, that they feel creative about or sharing with or whatever.
Yeah,
So that's just all part of it. But yeah, that's part of the whole thing too, man. And it's just way more than what we do. Like you said, it's cars, it's all kinds of different shit. It's artwork. It's, like every artist who hand makes any part or any piece that goes into a hot rod or a motorcycle or a bike. I mean, every little thing there. It's just it's a massive community, and a lot of people say it's underground, but nah, shit, man. Most of us are, pretty successful, and we're family people, and we're all over the gamut. We're just part of society. But we have people in the highest echelons too. We're not just tucked down as some, underground type shit.
It's almost like it's exclusive without trying to be exclusive. It's just like if you're into it, you're into it. And everybody can be into it, but it just takes, certain folks, like certain mindsets and certain states of thought and things of that nature. Is like a car guy, to me, myself as a car guy, I can appreciate lots of different types of vehicles. I don't typically have just one that I'm drawn to. I have a lot of different levels of things that I can appreciate, and I think there's a lot of folks. I don't feel like I'm rare. I think there's a lot of folks out there just like me that have that same like-mindedness and that same it turns into camaraderie. It turns into friendships. It turns into, car clubs being created and bike clubs being created. And, you just get in, like, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then, then you have like corporate types that don't see that. Like they were never into it, and it's almost like they just don't understand that whole world, and that's where I feel like it's exclusive without trying to be exclusive, because there's some people that just don't get it, and y'all nail it, man. Y'all nail it 100%. So, Ron, is there anybody that you would like to give some shout outs to on our show today?
Shit, man. So let's see. Give a show. Like I said, we're doing Rat Rodtober. We're going to be doing Invasion too. I know you guys go out there.
Absolutely, we'll be at Invasion this year.
Car Show. My buddy Josh Freeman Fabrication. He helps us out with a lot of shit. He's right next to us over there. Man. Let's see. We're doing Jack Fleming, he's been helping us out doing some pinstriping and shit on our cars, our bikes.
Well, you're a hot rodder.
National Beer Day. I'm sitting here thinking about what beer I want to drink right now. National Beer Day. Jack Fleming, awesome. Man, I got a plater, but I don't want to give him a shout out yet. Because you're fucking late, dude, and you're supposed to have my shit to me, and you keep putting me off, and I paid you for everything, so I'm not giving you a shout out.
You know who you are.
Yeah. So if I hire you to do something, get it to me on time, or at least reasonable. Especially if I paid you up front.
I mean, that's a good way to be. That's what we do. We pay up front and expect things. But I mean, that's a different type of person, huh? than what we've gotten in the 2022.
Dude, I mean, I understand it. Like, you know, we were taking full payment last year, and we'd be late on shit for sure. But these guys are local doing shit and just not getting it done. So
definitely dealt with that. Definitely. Well, folks,
get me my fucking frames.
Folks, if you
I'm
are
just gonna send them this episode anyway.
there, you go. Send it straight over to him.
If I don't have that shit by the time this airs, damn.
Well, we're on a 2-week schedule, so we record and then it's typically about 2 weeks out. So yeah, our listeners are hearing 2 weeks ago that you still don't have your stuff 2 weeks later.
Fuck. Yeah. So, I mean, fuck. I hope I didn't just fucking hex myself.
Oh, I hope not. I hope not. I'll feel bad.
We got some cool bikes, so man. We got that General E bike. Did you see that one? You got to check that out.
No, I have not. We'll definitely have to go check that out.
I know we got this nickel-plated one that we just finished. Yeah, we got a bunch of bikes coming in this week. Come on by online, wickedthumb.com. Facebook, Instagram, if you want to see all kinds of different custom bikes or looks we've done, stuff you could do. Like I said, bikes in stock next week, so we can get you something badass, and it's going to be a freaking awesome spring and summer here, and we're stoked, man. So
hell yeah,
you guys are awesome, man. So much appreciate you for having us on.
Of course,
2 times.
Right, we had to do
can't
this.
wait. What did I say to you earlier?
Yeah,
20 years from now, that like lost episodes.
The lost episodes will pop up. Yep, exactly.
So I can't wait. I can't wait to hear the lost episode. It's probably the opposite of everything I said tonight, too.
Right. No, I think it was all pretty right on. I mean, one thing that our guest did not get to talk about today, folks, on the last time we had him on the show, I put out there that he needs to recreate Pee Wee Herman's bike.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So we need to get one of our listeners to order a bike and have it customized to look like Pee Wee Herman's bike, and then bring it to San Antonio. And I will personally take you to the Alamo so we can find the basement and put it in there. We might get kicked out of the Alamo.
That would be sick. And I believe, I remember this. I believe the first time I went to the Alamo, I had this little terrier dog, and she went and pissed on the Alamo. The statute of limitations is up, Alamo.
Yeah, Ron's coming back to San Antonio. Yeah. And we're going to take a bike to the Alamo. That's happening. So
30-year reunion.
There you go.
I'm sure she's buried in the yard somewhere, and I'm still in the same house, I think.
Then we're going to make it happen. We're going to make a trip to the Alamo, folks. It'll be a great, wonderful experience. We'll take the GoPros. We'll get footage of all of it. So,
dude, I'm going to come down. We'll do that. We'll do like a video episode or something.
Absolutely.
Us cruising around San Antonio.
Yeah, we've got a few bike clubs here in San Antonio that like to go out and do their nights, and they ride around the town and stuff. We can definitely make something like that happen. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcast, please go and rate and review our show, because that helps us. The ratings help with metrics and all of the fun things that I have to deal with as a business owner. If you're listening to us on Spotify, which today when I was looking at everything, the majority of our listeners are listening on Spotify. So thank y'all. Thank everybody really who's listening in. I even got to see metrics today that show like, a good chunk of our listeners are coming from Europe. So thank you, all over the freaking world. The Custom Couple podcast is getting out to everybody. So hopefully we'll start selling some electric bikes to some folks in Australia and Romania. Some of these other places that I didn't even think would have listeners to our podcast. But thank you so much. And if you've got ideas for the show, if you want merchandise from us or any of the folks that we deal with, don't hesitate. Send us some messages. We'd love to talk with you. And as always, in all things custom, keep it cool.
Bing, bang, boom. See you next Tuesday.
Don't say see you next Tuesday.
I can poop anywhere.
We know.